Okay, everybody. It is about 2 minutes to 3 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be starting at 3 p.m. sharp with today's webinar regarding Prenke Romic and Satillo products and support. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Amy Goldman from the AT3 Center, and welcome to today's webinar that will introduce you to products and support from the Prenke Romic Satillo Company. This is one in a series of webinars. Our next one, FYI, is September 11th, and that will feature Tippy Talk. As usual, you will get reminders of our webinars, and you can also find them from the AT3 Center events link. If you are not already a member of the community of practice, feel free to email me and I'll make sure to add you to that listserv. So I'd like to introduce you to Kirk Benke, and it is my pleasure. I have known Kirk since 1992 or 3, when he was one of the very first employees hired when Pennsylvania started the Assistive Technology Act program. So he's been around. He was a key player in Texas with their technology efforts in the schools, and now he's actually back in Pennsylvania. So welcome to you, Kirk, or welcome back. And I just wanted to mention to everybody that you have all been muted. If you want to ask a question, you would have to unmute yourself if you wanted to do it verbally. And I will also monitor the chat feature so you can ask questions that way. As usual, you will get a follow-up evaluation that gets distributed to our DemoLoan Community of Practice listserv. So again, and now for sure, for real, without further ado, Kirk.
Thank you, Amy. Hey, Amy, just a reminder, did you hit record?
I did.
Oh, good. Okay, great. We're recording. Excellent. Hi, everybody. As Amy said, my name's Kirk, and we're going to talk about some Prenke Romic products and support that we're doing from the Prenke Romic, or now PRC Satillo company. So on the first title slide, I have a picture of Barry Romic, a black and white photo of him with a young girl using a touch talker. I'm not sure if many of you remember the touch talkers, but that's where we had that. A long time ago, and Amy already outed me as to how old I am. And then we have a little young girl that has a big smile face. We also have a older gentleman who is sitting in a wheelchair, and then we also have one of our consultants who's working with a young child using an augmented and alternative communication device. Our second slide is just a little bit about me. As Amy said, I did work for Temple University. I was the Information Referral Coordinator for the PIAT program, which is now called the Tech Owl program at Temple University. I've also worked at California State University, Northridge, and developed their Assistive Technology Application Certificate program. I've also worked for Region 4 Education Service Center in Houston, Texas. And I was also the lead for the Texas Assistive Technology Network for the country of Texas. And I say that tongue in cheek because in Texas, it is a country. And there's also country philosophy. So if anybody's from Texas, great, welcome. But you know what I'm talking about. No place like Texas. But now I'm actually in Pennsylvania, and I'm now working for the Prentke Romach company as their regional consultant. And I'm really enjoying it because it's just getting me back to my roots of working with people, doing a lot of training, doing a lot of technical assistance, and also hopefully giving us some input of my assistive technology experience to the company as a whole. As you can see on my slide, I have a couple of icons of some of the contract work that I've done. I also work for CAST, the Center for Applied Special Technologies, and the National Center for Accessible Educational Materials. I've also have a certificate in Universal Design for Learning from the Graduate School of Education at Harvard. I've also done a contract with UCD, or the University College of Dublin, in Ireland. Done some other contracts, again, internationally as well, in the Middle East and in Singapore. All right, so as I mentioned, we are one company now with two brands. So if you know the Satillo products, or like the Touch Chat, they are not going away. Everything is staying the same. We are just now one company that has one location in Wooster, Ohio. Our services and funding departments have all merged. And so it's a transition this year. So if you don't see the PRC Satillo logo, we're rolling it out right now, as you see, but we all are supporting all of the products that we have through the PRC brand and the Satillo brand. Everything is definitely being supported, and we're working on combining our efforts so that we become a much more efficient company, but then we also make sure that we respond to requests in a very timely manner. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the services that we provide towards the end of the session today. So a little bit about PRC, because I'm going to be talking about the PRC side of things. And if you wanted to know more about the Satillo side, feel free to contact me, or you can also look on the Satillo website. But about PRC, it was founded in 1966, so over 50 years ago. We are based in Wooster, Ohio. We do have regional consultants across the United States, and we also we have an international presence in Canada, the UK, Germany, as well as Australia. PRC Satillo mission is that we definitely enable individuals with speech and language disabilities to become successful communicators. One of the things why I joined Prentke Romach is because of their philosophy, their method, and their manner. It's one of those companies that I love, and I'm glad that I'm part of that. But as a consultant, as well as a educational consultant in assistive technology, I've worked in a lot of colleges and universities. The reason I went to a private company was not only for the convenience, of working at home and having all this great stuff, but it's also the philosophy of Prentke Romach, where we really do support our consumers, our customers, the speech language pathologists, etc. So I will also at the end tell you where you can find your local PRC consultant in your area, your state. So real quickly, today's agenda, we're going to look over some of our PRC products, such as the accent line, the PRIO, our language systems that we have available, and our access methods. I'm also going to give you a demonstration of Empower, which is our new operating system on the accent devices. And it's a lot cleaner, a lot more user-friendly. I'm also going to show you the loans and rentals that we have available. They are free for 30 days, and I'll talk more about that. We're also going to go over some of the resources that we have available online so that you can check those out after today's webinar. And also, have any questions that you might have at that point, but you're more than welcome to ask any question that you like during the presentation. And lastly, just to kind of remind you a little bit, is that we do have a 20% discount for you as AT centers. And the code is AT3 Center 20. AT3 Center 20. And then you would just email sales@prentmom.com, and I'll have this on the last slide and I'll remind you later on, for that 20% discount when you get a quote. Okay. Any questions so far? Hearing none, I'm going to go forward and talk about our PRC products. So our product lines are basically two product lines within the PRC brand name, Accent and Prio. First is the Accent, and these are the Windows-based tablets. We have three sizes of them. We call them Accent 800, the Accent 1000, and the Accent 1400. 800 is an 8-inch screen, the 1000 is a 10-inch screen, and the 1400 is a 14-inch screen. Basically, it's the same tablet, it's just different sizes. The Accent line has been approved DME. It's funded through private insurance when medically necessary. We also have a full funding page, which I'll show you at the end for the resources, so that you, if you're interested in trying to acquire one for a specific person that you're working with, you'll have that as a resource. But mostly you'll have your speech language pathology report. You'll have your authorization of benefits form. You'll have your CRM, which is your doctor's prescription. We also will need your insurance cards, etc. So it's basically a whole funding packet that you put through. And again, we have a whole resource site for you to do that, or for your speech language pathologist to do. And that goes as well for the Prio line. So the Prio line is actually an iPad, but it's housed, it's encased in one of our cases that has an external speaker, and it also has the key guard. So I'm going to hold this one up right now, just so you kind of get an idea of what it looks like. Sorry. Of course, it wants the software updates as soon as I turn it on, right? Please don't do that. Let's go. Okay. So this is the Prio. It's basically an iPad, but it has been encased. And then we also have the key guard, which goes on top of the case itself. But the only thing that we have available on the Prio is an app, which is our LAMP, Words for Life, which is the Language Acquisition Through Motor Plan, Words for Life application. It's through the iOS store. It retails for $300, but I know that for the Autism Awareness Month, it goes half price, and I think that's like in April. I'm not sure. I kind of forget. But I know that in case you're wondering, if you wanted to download that app on your iPad, you can do that. But that's the only language system, the LAMP Words for Life, that we have available for an iOS or for an app. We do not have anything for the Android at this time. And then our Accent line is all Windows based, and they are standalone devices, dedicated devices that we sell. On the Accent line, we also have 4 device configurations, and we also have 5 access methods. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. On the Prio line is basically an iPad where you have 1 access method and device configuration, and 1 device configuration, which is LAMP's Words for Life. So I'm cutting the chase on the Prio line. But let me talk a little bit more about our vocabulary families. One is Unity that we have, which is, and the subset of that is the LAMP's Words for Life app, but it's also available on our Windows tablet. We also have Unidad, which is our Spanish version of Unity. We have Word Power through Nancy Inman, and so we have available Word Power and Picture Word Power as a vocabulary family on our Accent devices. We have Essence, which is our own proprietary literacy-based system, language system, again, available for the accent. And then we also have something called Core Scanner. And Core Scanner is a different arrangement of our Unity language system, but it's done in a way that 1 and 2 switches are used to gain access to most commonly used words and their words in that vocabulary arrangement. And I'm going to show you a little bit on these slides, just a picture of what they actually look like. But let's take a look at Unity Family first. Unity Family, and I have a graphic here with Unity Family in the middle circle with 4 arrows pointing north, west, east, and south. And the north one basically says about single words, where we really want to concentrate on, single word utterances to make a phrase. The one to the east says core vocabulary, and so we're talking about the primary core vocabulary that we use as English language, as English speakers. We use 80% of the time, and that's between 300 and 500 words that we use every day, 80% of the time. And so we really do concentrate a lot on our core vocabulary because it's the most bang for your buck. I'm not saying that we don't concentrate on fringe vocabulary, because we do need fringe, up to other 20%, for context, etc. However, on our Unity Family, we do concentrate a lot on core. And then facing south, we have our word families. So we have many different types of families of words, such as apple. And apple can stand for eat, but it can also stand for hungry. It can stand for things around eating, like chewing or digesting. Well, I'm not sure about digesting. I'm not sure that's a core word. But you get the idea. But then we also have, under word families, is food. So we have the whole categorizations of food. And then to the west is motor plans for words. And this is very kind of typical of what we're looking at when we look at motor planning. That when you're a touch typist, you don't want to keep the letters on your keyboard basically in the same place, so that you develop a motor plan for putting together letters to stand for words. It's the same ideology behind our Unity Family, where you're using symbols to basically use a motor plan to gain access to that specific vocabulary word. And you're looking at between 2 and 3 presses for each word, so therefore you're gaining efficiency as well as being effective in your communication strategy through motor plan. So that's our Unity Family. Next slide, I'm just going to be showing you just basically screenshots of what it would look like. So this is Unity, and this is the 84 location. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the yellow highlighted buttons, which are your pronouns. You'll see in the middle sort of a verb, green verb line. You'll see to the right of that is a keyboard, and then you'll also, to the right of that will be a blue keys, which kind of stand for descriptors. And then the 4 rows at the bottom with the picture symbols are all about core vocabulary. So we really, like I said, we do concentrate in the Unity language system around core vocabulary and the use of those symbols to stand for specific words, phrases, etc., as well as categories of words. The same is true for LAMP words for life. So sometimes people always ask, what's the difference between Unity and LAMP's words for life? Well, basically what I say always is that Unity has a lot more flexibility, because with Unity you can have 1 or 2 buttons to fill up the whole screen, or 144 buttons, and you can go all the way up to that. With LAMP words for life, you're given a set of 84 locations, and that's on the app as well as on the accent device. So what you do is it's almost like giving you a full set keyboard, and we give you all of that at one time in LAMP words for life, and then therefore you learn the motor plan for that. If you want to know more about the differences between Unity and LAMP words for life, I would ask you to contact your local PRC consultant, and they'd be happy to come out and give in-services, as well as provide you technical assistance either on the phone or through a web chat or something of that nature. We're more than welcome to do that for you, and we can provide in-services for any location, or if you wanted to have us come in and maybe do an in-service for I don't know, some of the people, your funders that you're having, I don't know, whatever you want to do, we are more than happy to do that and help you with your education around AAC and our products. The next one is the LAMP Words for Life, but we also have a visually impaired version, meaning that we have a black background with high contrast colors. So it's the same arrangement of LAMP Words for Life, but it's done in a way so that you have a better visual representation of the icons and the labels. We also have set up, and I didn't take it out of my bag, and I'm not going to reach behind me because I'm probably going to rip everything out of the wall while I do that. But anyway, it's a key guard that overlays on the Accent 1000, which gives you a tactile feedback on where you are on the screen. So that's very helpful too. So if you haven't seen that as well, you might want to, again, contact your local representative. And then I did allude to Core Scanner, which again is an arrangement of Unity in a 1 to thousands of words that you can access via 1 and or 2 switches. And the way that that works is that you would hit a switch and you actually develop a motor plan for using a left or right switch or red and blue switch or whatever the case might be. And you develop motor plans if you're using 2 switches to gain access to specific vocabulary. If you haven't seen Core Scanner, we also have a YouTube channel. It's called PRC Access. And if you do a little search on Core Scanner, you'll see a wonderful video about implementation of Core Scanner for many of our clients who have multiple disabilities that use switches and need augmented communication. This is just a picture of the Unidad device configuration. Unidad is basically Unity, but it's all Spanish language. We also do have LAMP Words for Life available in a Spanish-English version, so that you touch one button and it goes in the English page, you touch another button and it goes into a Spanish page. Very helpful for dual languages. Here's the Unidad configuration. Looks exactly like Unity. You probably can't tell the difference. It's just the different labels. And then LAMP Words for Life, Spanish, English, again, same exact layout as the original LAMP Words for Life. And then again, as I said before, we have Word Power and Picture Word Power by Nancy Inman. And so we've used her vocabularies to then actually have that as software on our devices. So Word Power is all strictly words that are on there, again with the color coding labels that are on there, as well as an with letters in there so that you can have access to keyboarding. We also have Picture Word Power, which is a little bit more familiar in the Unity language, that has access to the pictures, etc., that we have available. And then lastly, we have something called Essence, and Essence is our literacy-based system. So this we typically have used for clients who have acquired disabilities, whether it be stroke, ALS, etc., who are familiar with and know and have literacy skills and are used to that. And we have phrase-based systems, we have spelling systems, we have word prediction within all this. We also have remotes and accessories and external computers, as well as internal computing systems that are built right into the language system. So it's very transparent for a new user of augmented communication who happen to have literacy skills to gain access to communication rather quickly. Okay, so that's our language system. Now we're going to talk a little bit about our access methods for the accent line of our products. We do have touch, so all of our accent lines do have a touch screen, and you can touch that with or without a key guard or a touch guide. So we do have key guards, which are a little bit thicker, and then our square, and we also have touch guides, which are a little bit thinner plastic that lay over the touchpad on the device, but that also give you a lot more flexibility in your access method. So if you haven't explored with either the touch guide or the key guards, I would suggest you ask for your local consultant to come out and show you and give you a demonstration of that, so that you have a better understanding of, you know, if someone has a tremor or someone needs some targeting issues, they can gain access with really good access with some of those, with either a touch guide or a key card. We also have USB ports on all of our devices, so you can plug in a regular joystick or a mouse or any type of adaptive or assistive technologies for computer access, because it's a USB drive, and you can access your augmented communication system that way on an accent. The one thing, we also have our new point head pointing system, is that you would wear a dot either on your head, glasses, or a cap, and that's a reflective point on your forehead that takes from the camera end of things. And so wherever you move your head, the cursor on the screen would then move on it as well. And that would be your access method. You can set that to dwell. You can set that to add an external switch. We also have something called Look, which is our new eye gaze system or eye tracking system. And that way you can actually do a calibration with your eyes, and so wherever you look, the cursor will follow that, and you can access the array of vocabulary on your device just using your eyes. If you haven't seen that, I would again contact a consultant, because it's pretty slick. And again, we have plenty of access methods. Not each access method is the easiest or the best. It all depends upon your consumer and what their needs are. We also have 1 and 2 switch scanning, which I talked about. So any type of ability switch that you might have, feel free to use that within our accent line of products. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over and give you a demonstration of Empower. Empower is our newest operating system that is on the accent devices. And this is what it looks like. It looks very similar to what you're probably used to on using an accent device. But this is the menu system now. It's menu, and then we can have a toolbox. We can go to our desktop. We have vocabulary builder. And we also have editor. So those are the basic key components of what Empower looks like. If I click on the toolbox, we're going to have different types of user settings. We're going to have vocabulary settings, system settings, and then we're also going to have a tab for applications, and that's for further development. We're working on a few applications specifically from a consumer's point of view on what they want to see in their communication system. So let's first look at the user settings. So if we do the access method, or we touch that access method on the computer, right now I'm showing you is on my laptop, so it's not the actual full-fledged version of a tablet, and it's not going to speak out. However, I do want to show you some of the features that are here on Empower. So if you click on touch, you can do the selection type when pressed or when released. So when you press the button, that's when it activates, or when you release it, that's when it's activated. We have different types of selection time, delays, repeat rates. So that's on the access method. We do have our head tracking. We do have our head tracking with dwell and our switch. We also have our eye tracking or scanning. I don't have eye tracking hooked up here, but you can then have plenty of options to fool around with to get the best access method for your client. We also have a new message window now. So now you can have different types of text colors. We have colors, we have a highlight, and we also have a background. So right now I have my background as yellow with black text. So if somebody has a visual impairment or a filtering that needs to be done with their window settings, the message window setting, you can edit that now. You can also we have 6 different text styles now that you can choose from, and then the different types of settings. Oh my. So there's quite a number of things that you can do here in Empower, as well as cursor and button feedback that you can do to, again, increase the sensitivity and or desensitivity of your access method within your system. This is the way to gain access to vocabulary. So you can select vocabulary. Currently, right now in Empower, we have Unity 4 to 8 to 84, but we also have, sorry, excuse me 1 second. And then we also have our LAMP, Words for Life, and the VI Full. Those are the two vocabulary families that we have available on Empower at the moment. We are working on Word Power. We're also working on Core Scanner for that, so that you have that available in the Empower operating system. Great. And then we have system settings, like if you want to do your volume, your device connections, your voices, your power settings, your updates, etc. So everything is a lot more cleaner and easier to understand. If you're used to new voice, it's hopefully you'll see that this is a much easier way to gain access to that. So let's say, for example, and I'm going to just do a demonstration of how to edit a button. So if I went to eat and I went to lunch and I wanted to add something that's not on here, what did I just had today? I had a smoothie. So I want to add smoothie on my lunch page. So what I'm going to do is just click on menu and then click on editor. And so sorry, 1 second. I have to click on edit first. I have to edit my page. Oh, why am I doing head tracking? Give me 1 second. I'm going to hit that by accident. Okay. So now I'm on my page, and I go to menu, and I go to editing. And I want to add smoothie. Let's say I want to add smoothie right here. I click on my edit page, my edit button. I click on the button that I want to edit. And then I click under my message and I want to add my word or phrase. Let's say I wanted to add smoothie. I click finish. And so the message is smoothie. My label that goes over top of my picture is there. And I actually did have a banana smoothie. So I can also click my suggested symbols here. And so I can see a preview of what my button will look like. Really simple, really straightforward, so much easier than before. Now, let's say, for example, I was just doing that's strawberry banana. That's even more specific than what I had today. So I'm going to pick that because I like that symbol. So I'm finished. So there I have my smoothie, banana strawberry smoothie. I'm good. So if I click save, I go back to my main page. I click on eat. I click on lunch. And I click on smoothie. And smoothie comes out. I'm not sure if you heard that or not, but I did in my ears. I'm not sure if that's coming through with Zoom, but anyway, it was a very deep voice that said smoothie. Just giving you an audio description of that you know. All right, so that's how you would program a page. You can also, if you didn't want to do a label, a picture, you could also take a picture. On our Accent devices, we have a front and a rear camera on that. So you can take actual pictures on there. I would suggest that you take pictures of, let's say, very specific things. Like don't take a picture of a garbage can, because then that would imply that all garbage cans are going to look like that. And we know, in fact, they don't. There's recycling bins, there's big garbage cans, there's little garbage cans, etc. But if I'm working with a family and they want to take pictures of grandma or grandpa or a niece or nephew or an uncle or a sibling or mom and dad, I would definitely encourage that. And you can do that with the camera feature within the edit button. Okay, one more thing that I want to talk to you about within Power is also something called Vocabulary Builder. So if I click on Vocabulary Builder, we have a list that's up here right now. So what I can do is, this is for training somebody if there's too many buttons on the page, and I want to specifically give them a list of words that I want them to look at. We can do that, and we can edit that and edit those lists or add those lists to that. So for example, if I wanted to work with a client today and I wanted to work on lunch items, I know this is just because we had lunch, sorry, I had lunch. I'm going to click on eat, and I'm going to click on those lunch items, and I'm going to click on those that I want to have available to me. Now, maybe not all of them. Let's say I want only those items that I just highlighted just by clicking on them. So then I can say, that's good, I exit. So now the only thing that I see on here with Vocabulary Builder turned on are those items that I've selected, pre-selected, so that you can then develop that motor plan, as I mentioned earlier, for the person that you're working with. So if I click on eat, the only other items I have here is lunch, and then I have these items that I made available, so that you're starting to develop that eat, lunch, and then motor plan for smoothie. Eat, lunch, macaroni and cheese. Eat, lunch, soup. So you're, again, it's all about that motor plan that we're talking about, and that's through Vocabulary Builder. I think this is one of the best kept secrets of our systems that really help with implementation and training of a lot of vocabulary for new acquired emergent communicators using devices. So all I have to do is then click off on Vocabulary Builder. That will turn it off, and then I can click exit, and I get everything back that I want. So if you want to know more about Vocabulary Builder, you're more than welcome to go to our website, and I'm going to give you some resources on that. Or again, talk to your consultant who can provide training opportunities for you. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my PowerPoint real quickly. Okay, so that was a demo of Empower. If those of you who know ViewVoice and seen ViewVoice before, hopefully you are embracing Empower because it's just a lot cleaner, a lot more easier to use, much more user-friendly when it comes to editing Vocabulary Builder and also selecting vocabulary. Next that I want to talk about are loans and rentals. So through our Prentke Romich company, we do have available a 30-day loan or a 30-day rental. And let me tell you the differences between the two. Let me pull up these. Let me pull up the discovery loan form first. So if you view this discovery loan first, this is our discovery loan, and it's basically an agreement between you as either a therapist or an educator or as an assistive technology person and the company, our PRC, that you want to borrow any of our devices, our Accent 1400s, the 800s, the Prio, whatever, and also the options that are there. You can just mark those off. And then the facility name, the borrower. We do try to get an SLP on here because it's wonderful to borrow equipment, but we also want to ensure that somebody is following up with that equipment for that facility so that they take on that responsibility. And then your signature, and then we also ask for a PRC regional consultant so that we talk to you about the discovery loan and so that we have that available to you. And again, you can borrow any of our, basically our augmented communication device and the optional accessories. If you do need mounting systems, we do have limited mounting systems for that, but we do have table mounts and we have floor mounts that you could possibly use to help you if you don't want to have an actual trial of an actual wheelchair mount. I think a table mount would probably be best. So that's our discovery loan. Again, it's free. We pay for the shipping. We give you a return label. You send it back via FedEx on our dime, etc. It's really there to really just give you an idea of what our devices are. Also, we have a free resource where you can go in and actually download our Unity software. It's called the PASS program, and you can download it onto your PC laptop. It's not Mac compatible, it's PC. And I'll give you that resource as well so that you can then use that as a trial or just explore our vocabulary with that. The second form that I want to show you is this 123 rental contract. And this is for a client, a person with a disability and or their family to fill out. And they provide us with their insurance information so that our funding program, our funding department, will have that information and will check to see if the medical insurance company will pay for an SGD or a speech generation device, and then we will rent that to you. But it's right now we put down here monthly rental fee, but we never charge anybody yet. That might change later on down the line. I'm not sure. But so far, this is all free for clients, so that they can use this as their trial for their evaluation. But this one we really do ask that an SLP be involved, the one who's going to be writing up the AAC assessment, ensuring that they're following up with data collection, ensuring that it's the right device for the individual, making sure that the families have that training. And again, we as consultants, we can come in and help the families, help the SLP with the training on the device. And that's all free of charge, by the way, from our company. All right, going back to our PowerPoint. So that's our loans and rentals. So now let's go into our resources. So like I said, on our aacfunding.com page, this is where you'll find all of our funding forms around rentals. This is actually where you're going to find the rental forms that I just showed you. Any required documents, we have modules that are on there that you can look at on our AAC funding page. And this goes directly to our entire funding department. So if you have anything any questions, you can always ask them. The other thing is that the AAC funding page is actually a portal. So you can upload your documentation for your funding packets right to our, and it goes right to our funding team. And that's all HIPAA legit. So you have a username and a password, so it's all secure. We also have something called AAC Language Lab. And on this particular website, it's aaclanguagelab.com. We have lesson plans and materials for you to help with the development of language, but we also have different types of lesson plans, writing activities, can-do cards, and various different types of resources that are available to you for implementation of AAC, either within the classroom or in an educational facility. This is mostly geared towards education. We also have a service called Accelerate Realize Language, and that's realizelanguage.com. This is really good for some of your SLPs who are AAC evaluators, where they can then collect data on a remote device and upload that data to their account, and then they can print out reports on the number of times they use the device per day, how many verbs they use, how many nouns did they use, what was the longest sentence that they had. Again, just a lot of that data collection, that's great for a trial, but it's also great for implementation. So if you have an SLP who really wants to know what this kid is actually doing and saying, you have that data available to you. Realize Language is $19.95. That's $19.95 for a subscription for a year. And if someone purchases an accent device, that's free for the first year. We also have our AAC and Autism website, which is aacandautism.com. And this is about our language acquisition motor planning, or LAMP, Words for Life iOS app, but it's also on our accent devices. We also have listed their 1- and 2-day training workshops that are live. We also have different links for your learning as well if you wanted to know more about the LAMP Words for Life program. Last thing I want to talk about is something called Explore AAC, and you can reach at exploraac.com. This is a great website. I'm going to pull this up for you. That is great for helping people who are not that familiar with augmentative and alternative communication to get them familiar in a user-friendly language, parent-friendly language, about the foundations of augmentative and alternative communication. So let me pull up a web page. 1 second, sorry. It was right here. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, so, whoops, sorry. Here's Explore AAC. So what you do is at exploraac.com, you can also find your consultant here. If you are interested in finding your consultant, all you have to do is click on the upper right-hand button and type in your zip code. And then you basically just get started, and it shows you the different things about what is AAC, that everyone communicates, who might use an augmentative alternative communication system, what are some solutions, how can you give it a try, and what's next. So if you wanted to do a little bit more research around AAC, this is probably the best platform to sort of help you with gaining some more information about AAC. And you can go into different types of learning modules, etc. I'm just scrolling here, and I hope I don't make you busy on this wealth of information. All right. Let me just check my PowerPoint real quick, just to make sure I covered everything. Oh, let's go ahead and find your consultant. So if I click on Find My Consultant, all you have to do is then click on North America. And then you can also enter your zip code up here in the box for a tab delineated piece. Or you can also, if you don't have any, if you're okay with visually representing your state, you can go ahead and just click on the state that you want. Since I'm picking on Texas, maybe I should pick on myself in Pennsylvania. And then you'll see that my name is here, as well as Melissa Hoy from Satillo. And then also Darlette is Western Pennsylvania. And then Rachel is Philadelphia for Satillo. So it's very comprehensive. Oh, that's funny. I saw my picture up here. That's me. I didn't know I was up there. Sorry. That's kind of very funny. Okay, so this is also our homepage at PrentRom, PRENTROM.com. Just so you kind of get a visual representation of that. And you'll see that that's where all of our information is. And if you wanted to also just go on Printing Roma, you just scroll down on our homepage, and you can find your consultant under the bottom here as well, just by typing in your zip code. All right, let me go back to the PowerPoint to end the presentation and ask if you have any questions. So, oh, one more thing, I'm glad I went back, is here's our PRC discount for the AT3 centers. So it's 20% off list price of any of our Accent Aprio systems. And that includes any of the accessories that I mentioned earlier. You know, like switches. We have a Freedom switch, which is actually it's a radio frequency switch. It's not a Bluetooth switch, but it works really, really well with our Accent devices. So it's basically a wireless switch that works really well. You can also go to any of our regional consultants. They can help you set up, train user devices, etc. We can provide in-services. We can assist with assistant SLP with their AAC assessment. We do not do AAC assessments because we are a vendor, and that wouldn't be right. But we will assist an SLP if they wanted to try anything out with any of our systems. We'll bring them in and help them with that. If you wanted to purchase any of our products, you would send an email to sales@prentrom.com and put in your promotion code of AT3 Center 20. That's AT, the number 3, Center 20. And ask for a quote for what you would want, and they would give you 20% right off the top. All right, Amy, I think that's basically it of what I'm doing. So I'm going to take it over to you for questions.
Sure. So one question I have for you is about the waiting list for loaners and rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, how long does it take from the point that you might receive a request? And I'm talking about for a loaner for a professional. who wants to use it in a demonstration or a training, and also a loaner for a client, and how you prioritize those and length of waiting.
As in any good answer to any AT question, you know what that answer is. It depends.
It depends.
So, however, just to give you a framework, we usually allow at least 4 weeks. And the reason being is that it might be quicker, because if you just are asking for an Accent 800, which is one of our small devices with no accessories, no switches, whatever, usually that's, we have some of those on hand. If you're asking for a 1400, which is our larger one with the eye gaze system and, a mounting system and all that stuff, it could take a little bit longer. However, what we always say is make sure you contact your regional consultant as quickly as you can, and when you want to have that. And it's really the same for either the Discovery Loan or the 123 rental program. But in order for us to process that, we do need to have all that information all filled out, incomplete on the forms that we have. And so that would expedite the process.
Great. I probably spend entirely too much time on Facebook, but I did want to give a plug for your Language Lab Facebook page.
Great.
And encourage people who are interested in AAC to follow you, because it alerts you to new content in the Language Lab. Just wondering about the kinds of general experience you've had with Medicaid funding, particularly for your devices that are really an iPad plus case plus app.
Yes. So on our dedicated devices, as long as it's shipped and labeled as a dedicated device, medical assistance has paid for those devices, as long, again, if the justification is there within the AAC evaluation or assessment, so that you had 3 trials, 3 different systems, everything else, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted within your assessment. Yes, medical assistance has paid for that, again, for a dedicated device. Now, if you're going to be purchasing the app off of the App Store and onto your own iPad, no. They really frown on that because it's not a dedicated system. One of the points that I didn't bring up as well is that if you do get funded through either medical assistance or your private insurance, all devices do come dedicated. In other words, they're also locked devices. They don't have access to the internet. But we, as Pranker-Wilmec and Satillo, we decided that it's a $25 one-time charge to the parents or to the family or to the consumer that we will unlock that device so that you can gain access to your internet and to all of the functions of the tablet and or the iOS device on our Creo. And
Great.
it's a one-time fee, that's it. So $25 for the life of the device.
Do other people have questions? Feel free to unmute your line. Kirk, are there any special things that people should know if they do go ahead and purchase either PRC or Satillo programs for their lending library, where they are shipping devices, they're used by a consumer and then come back? Any suggestions or hints on resetting or the physical cleaning?
Physical cleaning, we just use, and I use these cavi wipes because it's it's a germicide, and so basically I wipe those down before I send them out. I wipe them down when I get them back. So it's a germicide wipe that we use as part of our cleaning of the devices. I wouldn't use any other harsh chemicals or anything like that, only because of the glass on the devices. It can get scratchy at points if you use a harsh either chemical or a harsh scrubby or whatever the case might be, because it is glass. But they are chemically enhanced glass on our devices, so that they are much stronger than a typical iPad or iPhone or whatever, or tablet that's there. Another suggestion would probably be as packing. Save the package that the device comes in, because that's the best shipping method. And it's kind of unique. When you receive a new device, you open the box, the device is actually wrapped in a film, and on a cardboard base, and you lift the whole base up and you unfold that, and it releases the device in the packaging itself. It's actually rather unique in its design, but it's also really great because you don't have to worry about all the peanuts and all the packaging and all that stuff. So it's very economically friendly, but it's lightweight when you do the shipping.
Last call for any questions. Okay, hearing none, we will give our thanks to Kirk. Hopefully he's shared a lot of resources that you will then pursue. Keeping in mind that you all know that your 2018 funds need to be obligated by September 30th and liquidated by December 31st. So some of you may be pleasantly surprised and find that you have dollars to spend. Of course, go and look at your data in terms of the categories of need, of demand for your states, and go forward and purchase as your funds permit you to add to your demo loan inventories. Again, thanks to Kirk. Save September 11th as your next date, and please reply to the survey that you'll be getting shortly. Thanks again, and have a great day, everybody.
Great. Thank you, everybody.